this guy. He feels more dangerous than all the others combined. You don't believe me? Guys, I'm telling you, he's not what he seems.
He's been watching us for weeks.
They just filed a complaint, said you harassed him.
This guy wants us to think he's unassuming, but he's not.
Listen to yourself, Barry.
I don't understand why you don't see what's going on.
Calm down. Don't want you to do anything else you'll regret.
You broke into our home! Please, we are getting married in a week, Barry.
I'll be thinking of you.
The Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
This isn't Troy.
Nope, it's an island full of warrior women. It's cool, right?
Would your comrades be mad at you?
Yeah, they would be. But they knew what they were getting when they brought me on.
No, thank you. You've changed my destiny.
Best thing about this place? No boys allowed. You'll finally have some peace and quiet.
Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 4, and today we're going to be talking about Episode 7, so the trailer that you just watched for the episode titled Therefore I Am. So we're going to be breaking this trailer down to its depths, and be talking about other stuff that's going to be happening in this episode. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any DC TV videos this year. So also in this video, I forgot to mention, I'm going to be talking about Wonder Woman because Themyscira was just confirmed on Legends, so we're going to be talking about that after the Flash trailer bit of this video. So the title is called Therefore I Am, and there's a really famous saying that is, I think, therefore I am, and I've said this in my past episode 7 videos. I think that's definitely a direct reference to that actual quote because the thinker is called the thinker, and the part that they actually miss out is I think, and it does make a whole load of sense if that's a big Easter egg towards that. And I'm very happy, guys, because the season as a whole has been good, but it hasn't been the best. I actually enjoyed the first half of Season 3 much more than the first half of Season 4 so far, just due to the massive change, and I feel like they're actually kind of forcing the humor a bit too much, and I prefer the more dark tone stuff, and I think the Flash TV show as a whole actually works better with the dark tone. And although I don't think it needs to be as dark as Season 3, I think it does definitely need to get darker in the back half of the season, so I'm very hopeful. And to be honest, the thinker hasn't been that interesting until last episode when we got that reveal, and this trailer has made me really intrigued as to the thinker's actual storyline, because in this trailer we get a few shots of him, and Barry becomes very suspicious in this trailer because everyone doesn't believe that Clifford, this guy in the wheelchair, is not controlling them. They think it's someone else, and they think they got it wrong just due to the fact that he's crippled, and Barry doesn't believe it, and he thinks this guy is more dangerous than all of his past villains combined. And so throughout this episode, Barry's actually going to have to convince the team that this guy is the guy actually controlling him, and this guy wants to think that he is unassuming, but Barry knows he's not. And Barry throughout the episode is actually going to be trying to find out if he's actually the person that's been controlling them, and he actually breaks into DeVoe's house, and he's eventually caught, we know, because the mechanic in the end, when she's at CCPD, she's pretending to be a wife in distress, but we know she's not actually in distress, she's actually just faking it. So that storyline's going to be going with DeVoe and the mechanic actually faking the actual agendas, and they're going to be playing with Team Flash, and Barry is being smart and he knows they're messing with them. And Clifford throughout this episode is obviously going to have some very awesome flashbacks, and I can't wait to see it. As we can see in some of these scenes, the tone is a lot darker, and it does seem to be like this is a flashback. And DeVoe actually puts his hand out, and there's some raindrops actually going up in like slow motion, and this is something that happens when dark matter's around. Remember guys, whenever dark matter's around, like whatever liquid form is nearby sky actually rises up. So I can infer from this and from the surroundings, the mise-en-scène within this, that he's actually watching the particle accelerator as it goes off, because there's protesters behind him, and we know when the particle accelerator actually went off, dark matter hit, so it makes a lot of sense that there's water floating up and there was protesters there. So I'm 99% certain that he's there, and that's when he got his powers. So we're not 100% what his powers are, but I think it has something to do with the thinking cap that actually gets its debut in this trailer, because in the comics he has a thinking cap that helps him think and helps his mind to be enhanced. And I think him putting on the thinking cap is probably one of his experiments, because we know before this he was really smart, and now with the thinking cap on him and the dark matter going over him, I think the intelligence has infused into his brain. And that's just one of my theories, but the thinking cap is going to have some relevance in his backstory. So when he actually was near the particle accelerator explosion and probably got powers, so he puts on the thinking cap in the trailer, and it's an awesome shot. I love the darkness, I love everything about those shots. So the people around him are on the ground, so obviously they've been affected by the particle accelerator explosion, and it seems to be that when he's putting on the cap, he's somehow got some more strength and something's going to happen. And throughout this episode we're going to be getting Thinker flashbacks, and we're going to explore more of his character, go into more depth, because as of now we know very minimal about his actual character. We've seen him quite a lot, but we've never actually explored any of his agendas or any of his past. So at the end of the trailer, the Thinker says, "I'll be thinking of you." So that's obviously just a hint that his name is actually going to be the Thinker, and I'm sure Cisco will drop that sometime soon. And inside his home we get a reference back to episode 1, as we see a samurai, and he's obviously been influenced by this piece of art, because the samurai that was in episode 1 has actually been influenced by that, and he actually made it. So when Barry actually sees this piece of art, he's going to be very suspicious, and it's going to raise his suspicions after he sees that. So we get to find out that in this trailer, Barry actually finds out that the Thinker has been watching them for weeks, and that's going to be one of his arguments for Team Flash to actually believe him, because he finds that inside the samurai's helmet that there's actually a camera, and he's actually been watching them. So throughout this episode we're going to have to explore Barry actually trying to convince Team Flash that this guy, the guy in the wheelchair, is actually the villain. I'm not sure why Team Flash aren't suspecting him. I guess they just feel bad for him because he's a cripple, but remember guys, Harrison Wells from Earth 1 was a cripple, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was the big bad. So I'm not sure why they're not being suspicious of that. Okay, so now moving on to some Legends of Tomorrow stuff. It's just been confirmed in the last episode of Legends of Tomorrow that Themyscira exists in the Arrowverse on Earth 1. So this is crazy news. I loved last episode. I thought it was really great. I would review Legends. I don't have time to do it, so I will make the occasional Legends video. I plan to make a Constantine Legends of Tomorrow video very soon, so if you guys like Legends, subscribe so you don't miss it. So could Wonder Woman show up? That's a big possibility now that Themyscira has actually been confirmed, and she actually goes back in time to the time that Helena of Troy was actually around, so that was ages ago. So Helena of Troy is going to be going back there, and that's where she's going to progress, because she was time displaced in Hollywood. And then at the end of the episode she's actually brought to Themyscira because she really wants to become a fighter after seeing Sarah and everyone fight. So Wonder Woman could definitely show up. This is the basis for her to actually show up, because we see Themyscira, we see the lands. It's beautiful, it's really well shot, really well edited. Obviously it's not really shot, it's been totally CGI'd, but the landscape is very nice and it's very similar to the Wonder Woman film. So I do think Diana could definitely show up sometime in the future if Warner Brothers actually let the TV version actually appear, and I doubt we will get a full-on Wonder Woman, but we could get a Diana Prince. We've had Diana Prince references in the past with Barry going to Earth 2. We actually saw on the phone dial it said Diana, but there has been loads of Wonder Woman Easter eggs here and there. And my main theory from this is that because Helena of Troy actually went to Themyscira, I think Donna Troy could show up. I know they're unrelated in the comics, but I still think that with Helena of Troy being on Themyscira, they could twist the backstory between the two characters and say that she is a descendant of Helena and she's in present day Themyscira, Donna Troy, who is actually Wonder Girl in the comics. And I think that's a way that they can actually introduce her into the Arrowverse and actually have Wonder Girl show up and maybe be part of the Legends, or she could come onto any of the other shows and they could go visit Themyscira anytime they want, because that's the real thing in the Arrowverse that has just been confirmed. So I'm very excited. I think the Donna Troy theory is really cool, even though in the comics, like I said before, they're not related, I think that something like that would work really well, and that could be a way for them to actually introduce Wonder Girl into the Arrowverse. So anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been my Flash trailer breakdown for The Thinker, and also my Wonder Woman confirmation video. So anyway guys, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.